And then what did you make of Sophie Cunningham's flagrant foul on JC towards the end?
It was a flagrant foul.
You think it's like defending Caitlin or defending the team, or how do you view just how it opened?
I view it as a flagrant foul.
Wow, that's about the game too.
Yeah, well, I mean, you guys came for basketball.
Yeah,
Let's talk about basketball.
Yeah.
Come on now.
What do you think of just how you all were able to pull away in the second half, Caitlin in particular?
We're going to the Commissioner Cup Championship.
Let's
That's
go!
pretty exciting. Y'all want to talk about that? Let's talk about that.
What do you think, again, in the second half?
The WNBA is in danger of endangering its own existence. Caitlin Clark, the show's biggest star, is allegedly reaching her breaking point, and rumors of her departure are getting louder every day. This goes beyond rookie hazing. It is a tale of one court attack that was disregarded by authorities, a media that places the blame on the sufferer, and a jealous league that despises its own savior. A startling notion that Clark is preparing an escape is now spreading. A bold power maneuver that might reveal the WNBA's most serious shortcomings and leave the league reeling from the spotlight she brought on her own. If you appreciate this content, consider giving this video a like and subscribing to the channel. Believe it or not, more than 85% of viewers haven't subscribed yet. It's free and only takes a second, but it means the world to us. So, did you subscribe already? Great. Thank you so much for your support. Now, back to the video.
WNBA record. This is her second season. And you put the numbers together, that's like 10 seasons. That girl did it in 10 seasons. That means she had one a season. Caitlin Clark is... when Caitlin Clark gets to 10 seasons, she's going to have 100 of these. And y'all can't get a girl her roses. Now, I don't like the fact that she be getting woke because she don't want all these lesbians to be mad at. But at the end of the day, is the woman putting in the work she's putting in the work.
You must first recognize the enormity of her influence in order to comprehend why quitting is even a possibility. Not only do the numbers convey a narrative, they shout it from the rooftops. The WNBA was a niche league vying for television prior to Caitlin Clark. It turned into appointment television after she arrived. A one-woman economic stimulus plan is what we are discussing. Seas of unoccupied seats were abruptly sold out in arenas. Not only in her hometown of Indiana, but in every city she went to. In order to accommodate the huge wave of spectators who came to watch her play, opposing teams had to transfer their games to larger NBA venues.
This is all going according to plan. This is ideal. Caitlin Clark is holding up her end by being awesome and by being a trash-talking jerk on the court. Love it. Her teammates are holding up their end by having her back. The other players in the league are holding up their end by not liking her. Perfect. Couldn't have written a better script. Caitlin is talking trash to this girl's hard fouling her. Her teammate Sophie Cunningham, who got a black belt in Taekwondo at the age of 6, she's like, I will F you guys up. All of it's great, and Caitlin's a killer. 10 out of 10, no.
When her jersey was released, it became the best-selling item for any athlete in any sport. The most damning proof came when she was momentarily sidelined due to an injury, even though the league's viewership on major networks increased by triple digits. In an instant, the WNBA's viewership fell by an astounding 55%. Give that some thought. When one player sits out, over half of the league's television viewers disappear. This person didn't work well in a team. She was the market's sole source of funding for her own opponents and the salaries of the players who appear to be upset with her for it.
Caitlin Clark is driving the WNBA insane. It's to the point that she may need to step away from the WNBA, have a billionaire come in that has the money to prove a point, and say, Caitlin, I'll pay you $50 million just to see if the WNBA can make it without you. Let's go create a complete different league and expose the hell out of the WNBA just to embarrass this Angel Reese girl that Jameel Hill just said she could go down as a Michael Jordan of WNBA.
Yeah. Yes, but her entrance to the league felt more like a back alley ambush than a red carpet, despite all the money and publicity she brought in. Opponents had a single main defensive tactic, which was soon apparent. Take a look at the amount of physical trauma she could withstand before breaking. This was more than just physical basketball. The campaign was focused. Hip checks, off-ball schvies, and aggressive closeouts that bordered on outright assault were highlights of every game. This reached its zenith with Marina Mabrey's notorious shove, which completely separated Caitlyn from the play and sent her flying with a full body check.
Well, I will say this. When Caitlin Clark was out, they lost 55% of their viewership. So, like, basically, Caitlin Clark is paying all their salaries.
Pretty much.
I mean, at the end of the day, you can hate her as much as you want, but she's brought in millions of fucking dollars. So you should be kissing her ass.
And that kind of defeated the purpose of Angel Reese's argument of she's like, hey, it's not just Caitlin Clark that is bringing all the viewership to the WNBA. It's like, well, it definitely is. It's like it kind of proved that with the viewership rating being down that she significantly increases viewership with
They try so hard to compare her to Caitlin Clark. They try. So
It was a maneuver more appropriate for a hockey game than a basketball court. But for her critics, Clark's response was the most frustrating aspect of it all. She didn't strike back. She didn't voice any complaints. She simply got back up, cleaned herself, and resumed her work. Her calmness was not interpreted as professionalism. It was perceived as haughtiness, which only increased the intensity of the subsequent blow. It was an obvious message. You won't surpass us. We will attempt to stop you with force if we are unable to do it with skill.
The Fever and Sun hold a brawl and a basketball game breaks out. This was something. Caitlin Clark, without question, gets raked across the face. I think she gets poked in the eye, but it's difficult to tell.
If you're the Indiana Fever, you cannot stand by and let that happen. They need to make it clear to the officials. If you're going to let this happen, then we're going to stand up for our player and make a mess of the game, and you're going to have a big mess on your hands. So you need to stand up for this. You need to do something about this.
You've just learned with definitive data and beyond question that Caitlin Clark controls more than half the audience for the entire WNBA.
However, there was more to the story than just the hits on the court. Because there was no sign of the individuals who were hired to uphold the regulations. The officials appeared to be ignoring the fact that Caitlyn was being treated like a human piñata. They seemed to have misplaced their whistles. The rest of the league received a clear signal when blatantly aggressive fouls were either disregarded or termed ordinary fouls. The season is open. The organization that ought to have been defending its golden goose, the WNBA front office, was utterly silent. They responded to dress code infractions more quickly than to their biggest stars' systematic targeting.
A lot of us were expecting some sort of dip since Caitlin Clark has been out with injury, but I don't think all of us were expecting the entire viewership of the entire WNBA to be down. And this tweet from Christine Brennan really stuck out to me. She said one player gets injured and more than half the TV audience for the entire league disappears. Has any other athlete ever had that kind of impact on a sport? Golf without Tiger definitely dropped precipitously on occasion, but not like this. This news is alarming for the league, and it's alarming for the league because this is such a crucial year for the WNBA.
What took place? A fan-led online campaign was sparked by this puzzling in action. The movement to defend Caitlin Clark. Watchers became amateur forensic investigators, shouting into the internet void for a blatant foul that would never arrive, circling illicit screens, and repeating videos in slow motion. It revealed a profound and disturbing hypocrisy at the core of the WNBA. They refused to provide her with the same level of protection as other players because they wanted her marketing influence, ticket sales, and TV ratings. It wasn't only incompetence that caused this failure. It seemed deliberate. A tacit support for the on-court hazing.
I am sick and tired of the way they are treating my girl, Caitlin Clark. I am here to propose a solution. I think they need an enforcer. You know, someone who comes off the bench to kind of lay the smack down on an opposing team member. I want to get the word out to the Indiana Fever that I am available. I'm ready to identify as whatever I need to in order to get the job. They need someone like me. Why? Because I'm not afraid of any 6-foot tall lesbian. I work out. Now, I have a couple of real good go-to moves in my bag of tricks.
The media intervened to place the blame on the target of the attack, just when you thought the situation couldn't get any more ridiculous. Rather of pointing out the risky actions, talking heads and sports experts started to build a strange narrative. They claimed that Caitlin was to blame for the aggressiveness. She exuded too much confidence. She started talking trash. She brought it on herself, they said. It's difficult to know where to start because this argument is so fundamentally flawed. We are discussing professional athletics, a realm of psychological warfare, rivalry, and ego. Michael Jordan was a renowned trash talker. Before the game even began, Larry Bird's career was built on mentally destroying opponents.
Oh, it's this shit I don't like. A snitch, nigga, it's this shit I don't like.
You know, they get into it a bit here. Lexi Holdown gets it.
Oh, bitch, nigga.
Sheldon's face. Caitlin Clark hits the deck.
Sneak decides that's what I don't like.
Sheldon and Cunningham are getting into it.
A snitch, nigga, that's the shit I don't like.
Caitlin Clark with a few words with JC Shannon.
They are praised for their shenanigans, immortalized as a component of their fierce competition. However, Caitlin Clark is abruptly breaking an unwritten norm that calls for physical punishment when she does it. Fans were enraged by this obvious double standard. Commentators would go to great lengths to defend a forceful thrust, examining Caitlin's stance or demeanor as though she were requesting it. In essence, they were blaming the mailbox for being struck by an intoxicated driver. It was a clear and twisted message. Throughout the WNBA, you deserve everything that comes your way if you are a strong, self-assured woman.
Caitlin Clark has decided to quit the WNBA and move on and go play over in Europe. I do not blame her. I applaud it. I say do it. Get as far away from the WNBA as you can. Let that league sink. Okay? Do not help them, Caitlin. Get away. I believe you could create your own league, okay? You could be the fucking player that creates whatever, the next professional women's basketball league. Let this one just go and let Caitlin try to build the next WNBA.
However, this poisonous atmosphere wasn't exclusive to rivals. It appeared to be deeply ingrained in the veteran culture of the league. The word of the day was gatekeeping. Some players thought that Clark hadn't earned her stripes, therefore it was an odd self-defeating campaign. Earned precisely what? In just a few months, she brought more attention and revenue to the WNBA than some teams had in decades, making her the most well-known and significant player in the league. You could feel the resentment. Players who had spent years battling for attention were suddenly reduced to supporting roles in Caitlin Clark's show, and they didn't like it. Although the rivalry with Angel Ree and others was frequently brought up, it was only one sign of a far more serious illness. It was a league-wide identity crisis where a faction of players seemed more determined to putting the new star in her place than capitalizing on the once-in-a-lifetime potential she represented. They were so preoccupied with the identity of the Queen of the Court that they neglected to notice that without her, the entire kingdom was in danger of falling apart.
I want to get your opinion because it's been a minute on this Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark stuff that's been going on. Brittany Griner a couple of weeks ago in a video says trash effing white girl when she was playing Caitlin Clark. What's your just kind of 30,000 foot view of this?
There is not an organization more dedicated and committed to self-imploding than the WNBA. The WNBA was like handed the golden egg that is Caitlin Clark. Yeah. And they have done everything to just self-destruct. Yeah. Whether it's these totally crazy like racial investigations that have been proven a hoax.
This returns us to the unfathomable rumor that she might go. At this point, the narrative intriguingly shifts from one of abuse to one of final retribution. Analysts and speculative enthusiasts have proposed two primary scenarios. The European escape is the first. She might sign a multimillion-dollar contract abroad, where female basketball players are frequently accorded greater admiration and respect. She would receive generous compensation, be shielded by the league, and be free to simply play basketball without having to deal with the high school drama and political intrigue of the WNBA. The billionaire's gambit, the second possibility, is considerably more dramatic. According to the hypothesis, a wealthy investor would approach Clark with an unexpected offer after seeing the WNBA's self-sabotage. If you sit out and demonstrate that the WNBA cannot continue without you, I'll give you $50 million. Better yet, they might use Clark as the face of a brand new rival league. It would be the most disruptive action in the history of contemporary sports. A direct challenge that would reveal the weaknesses of the WNBA and possibly create a new empire on its ruins.
Caitlin Clark did her thing. Coming off of the injury, she returned for the Fever, and I swear I am not being hyperbolic. We were immediately gifted one of the greatest halves we have ever seen in the WNBA, and I say that with all context involved. This series from Caitlin Clark, the pull-up three here, and you are about to see back-to-back-to-back triples for Caitlin Clark in this game. I am not trying to erase the things we have seen from Maya Moore, from Diana Taurasi, Asia Wilson's 53-point game, Stewie, Cynthia Cooper. Like, we have seen incredible halves of basketball, but you see Caitlin Clark coming off of that made three from the Liberty. Pull-up, of course. She's making it in that moment.
Let's discuss the alleged rivalry that some athletes and the media have made a valiant effort to create. There are legendary rivalries in every great sport. Federer versus Nadal and Magic versus Bird, however, were based on intense admiration for one another. There isn't a rivalry going on with Caitlin Clark. It is a biased fixation. The entire charade was revealed when Angel Reese committed a blatant foul to Clark's head and was subsequently shown being applauded by her teammates on the bench. It has nothing to do with competition. It has to do with hostility. Real competitors push one another to improve. They compete on the court and frequently recognize each other's excellence off it. This story, however, is distinct. It's being used as an excuse for petty actions and cheap shots. Clark seemed to be concentrated on winning games and playing basketball. Some opponents have taken it personally, even though they appear to be more focused on her. By doing this, they have devalued the concept of what a professional sports rivalry ought to be, transforming it from an engaging drama into a poisonous spectacle. The unachievable level of professionalism Clark is expected to meet is perhaps the most frustrating aspect of the entire story. She finds herself in a classic Noin situation. She is instantly accused of being immature, entitled, or unable of handling pressure if she responds to a hard foul, expresses frustration, or disputes a call. However, after she takes a hit, gets up, and leaves without reacting. She has been described as conceited, aloof, and uncooperative. She is subjected to unprofessional, frequently hazardous behavior while being expected to maintain flawless robotic composure. There is no proper way for her to behave. Every human response is reframed as a weakness in the character. In the meantime, the players who engage in these behaviors receive little to no criticism for their lack of professionalism. This is an unrelenting psychological game. She must always be the stronger one, bearing the emotional burden of a league's fears in addition to the physical blows, all the while being scrutinized for how she handles it. In addition to the current turmoil, the WNBA is committing a long-term act of self-destruction. What message does this provide to the stars of tomorrow? This is being witnessed by every gifted young female who plays college basketball. They witness the biggest attraction in the league becoming marginalized. They witness her achievements being penalized rather than honored. Why would the next big thing want to join a league that seems to eat into its own? Future potential is being essentially poisoned by the WNBA. Additionally, corporate sponsors, who are essential to any professional league, are also keeping an eye on things. Brands make investments in expansion, excitement, and uplifting stories. They don't spend money on unreliable and amateurish products, public relations catastrophes, or small-scale internal strife. In addition to endangering one player, the league's failure to protect Clark would harm its reputation and brand for years to come, possibly deterring future stars and the funding required to keep the lights on. Caitlin Clark ultimately finds herself caught in an impractical dilemma. She is essential to the league's continued existence. However, it creates a culture that deliberately penalizes woman for her excellence. In addition to being the main attraction, she is also the target of abuse. She's committing to more of the same if she remains. More blame for things that are not her fault, more silent whistles, and more hard fouls. It won't be a sign of surrender if she goes. It will be a statement that her skill and well-being are more valuable than a league that doesn't value either, and it will be an act of deep self-respect. The WNBA is at a turning point in its history as it looks at the golden ticket it was given and appears to be doing all in its power to destroy it. We have one last sobering question to ask. What takes place the day following her departure? What will that silence sound like when the arenas are half empty once more, when the numbers of viewers plummet, and when the mainstream media shifts its focus? It will sound like a league was finally compelled to face the star it chased away, turning it into a trivia question about a phenomenon it was too broken and too proud to accept.